This series is brought to you by you. Thank you so much for all of my patrons and the people who have used the Jackson's affiliate links. It is thanks to you guys that this series have been made possible. Thank you so much. Welcome back to episode 4 of the Colossal Color Showdown season 2, and in this episode we're going to start taking a look at gold green or green gold or greenish yellow. It's one of those colors that they're mostly called green gold or that kind of combination. Other brands, some of them do call it like greenish yellow instead, but we'll go through all that. I try to keep it to the green gold name for this episode. So we have green gold from Daniel Smith. Now I know you can see that green gold is completely different from all the other green golds from other brands. And a lot of you will know that they do actually have another green gold called Rich Green Gold, which is far closer to the rest of the brands than the Daniel Smith one. But the premises of this series is to stick to color names, and the reason why we do that is precisely because of things like what Daniel Smith does with their names. And a lot of you are aware that the rich green gold is the color that everyone else calls green gold, but many people don't know that, and I want to be able to show that in this series to go, hey, if you're looking for green gold, if you're looking for Daniel Smith ones, you got to watch out for their color naming, because if you think you're going to get these kind of colors by buying green gold by Daniel Smith, you're not. So I get every video I make, I get comments saying, hey, why didn't you include this color? Oh, I'm really disappointed that you didn't include this color. Okay, the answer to every single one of those questions has been because it didn't fit with the premises of this series, which is that we go by the color name precisely to show the beginners what to watch out for when they're buying colors. So I hope you can understand. I am going to stand by my decision to go by color names because it's my motivation to make it easier for beginners to buy colors and be able to avoid mistakes like buying green gold from Daniel Smith thinking it is just like the other brands. Let's get on with the housekeeping over. Let's get on with the video itself. So we have the Daniel Smith green gold, which you can clearly see is a completely different color from all the other brands. Greenish yellow by Holbein, transparent green gold by Schmincke, brown green by Sennelier, green gold by Winsor Newton, green gold by QoR, Azo gold by M. Graham, green gold by Szmal, greenish yellow by Mission Gold, green gold by Da Vinci, green gold by Old Holland, and green gold by MaimeriBlue. In terms of hue, as I said, except with the exception of Daniel Smith, all the colors are pretty similar. Some are brighter than others, so I would say that the green gold by Da Vinci is the most muted one, and colors like green gold by Szmal and Holbein, Schmincke, Azo gold by M. Graham, and MaimeriBlue and QoR, they have a lot more bright yellow in them coming through the colors. You can see, especially in Szmal, that PY150 coming through with that really bright, intense yellow. Mission Gold is a little bit greener than, say, the Szmal, and then the Da Vinci and Sennelier are the two most muted ones. In terms of re-wet, Daniel Smith one was super easy to re-wet. Very, very easy. The Sennelier one and M. Graham one hadn't set in my environment in the winter, and so they were really, really easy to re-wet because they hadn't even set. However, for me, I found it hard to get the consistency right of how thick a paint and how watery I wanted the paint to be. But as I always say, that's probably because I don't have as much experience painting with colors that have honey in them. However, Szmal do also have honey in them, but that was much, much better for getting the consistency right if you're not used to honey. It wasn't as, the Szmal one, yes, it has honey, but it also sets which makes getting the consistency right a lot easier than these two brands. So if you want the honey, but you kind of want an easier time getting the consistency right, then I would recommend the Szmal. Winsor, Newton, QoR, Mission Gold, Da Vinci, they were harder to re-wet. None of these colors are really, really hard to re-wet like we had in the ultramarine violet colors. This is just, oh, it was a little bit harder than the other colors kind of thing. However, the Winsor & Newton and the QoR one, as well as the Szmal one, they went down onto the paper really nicely. Some paints are just easy and smooth to paint with and put it on the paper. As you can see from how it dried, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to dry even and flat. However, sometimes you just get this nice experience of putting the paint down and you can almost feel that the paint wants to be on the paper. So you do definitely get those experiences with the Winsor & Newton, QoR and Szmal. In terms of evenness of how it dried though, and don't forget I use a cheap watercolor paper so that if the paints go down smoothly on this paper, then it is definitely going to do amazing on the more expensive papers. This is Fabriano Academia, really cheap paper. I'm sure that if you use something like Arch or Solid Waterford, all of this will go down smoothly. I just want you to see the paint at its worst condition to know which ones will do well even under extenuating circumstances. And those are definitely the Schmincke one, went down very smooth, dried nice and smooth. It doesn't have all these streaks that other brands have. Holbein is second best, I would say, followed by the Da Vinci one. Winsor & Newton one was doing well, but then it had this, so it depends. The two most problematic ones were the Old Holland and MaimeriBlue. I don't know what's up with these two brands. So far, we've looked at 3 colors from them, and they're not done too well at the moment, but hopefully they'll get better as we go through the series and we discover more colors from them. But in terms of Golden Green and Green Gold by these two brands, we had the bubbling happening again, and they behaved slightly differently though. With the Old Holland one, we got the bubbles happening, and then as you put them down, they'd pop after a while, which is what creates these white circles that you can't do anything about. And then the other way is that the MaimeriBlue, their bubbles kind of stayed as a bubble for a lot longer, and I think that's why you get these darker circles. Either way, it's certainly not what I would want in my paints. And when I asked about the MaimeriBlue to you guys in the ultramarine violet episode, you said that this happens both in the half pan and the tube for that particular color. So if you have the MaimeriBlue or the Old Holland, the MaimeriBlue, I used the half pan, not the tube, and the Old Holland one came from a tube. But if you have any experience with these two colors, especially about whether you've experienced bubbling or not, if you can let us know in the comments down below of your experience, I know that's going to be super useful to everyone. I know everyone's going to be tutting about how the green gold is completely different by Daniel Smith to all the other colors, but to be fair to this color, I have to say, this is a test shoot I did when I was trying to find the complementary color of these colors, and this was using the green gold by Daniel Smith, and I gotta say it mixes really well with other colors and it creates these beautiful rich hues. This one was Colossal Violet, which turns that Colossal Violet into this beautiful autumnal color, and then it really darkens the green gold, and then you get this rich brown in the middle. This was ultramarine violet, and that creates lovely colors as well. So I know that it's different from all the other ones, but don't knock it, because I think this is a brilliant paint to have if you do a lot of landscape. It is a bit too bright to use on its own, but as a mixing color, I think it creates some really rich colors if you want that bit more high saturation colors for your paintings. Let's move on to prices and whatnot. In terms of other colors that brands have, as I mentioned already, Daniel Smith has Rich Green Gold, PY129. That color is going to be a lot closer to these other brands. So if you are looking for this kind of color in Daniel Smith, you should go for Rich Green Gold and not Green Gold so you don't get disappointed. But this color is also pretty good at color mixes. Then we also have Roman Schmaltz Deep Green Gold, which is again PY129, which is a lot similar to this color. Old Holland also has Gold Green Deep, which is PY129 and PG36. Again, it's a lot closer to this color. Also, with Old Holland, this color, you know, we've already talked about how it smells with the other colors from this brand. This also has a light smoky smell. So if you are sensitive to smell, then you should definitely avoid this color. I mean, I wouldn't recommend just from this test sheet alone either of these because the bubbling is not something you want in your painting. In terms of price, the most expensive one, as always, is the QoR at £1.32 per milliliter. All prices are from Jackson's. So these are UK prices. The prices in your country is going to vastly vary. The cheapest one, as always, is the Mission Gold one. In terms of pigments, there's a real split between brands that just do a single pigment color, like Sennelier and Winsor, Newton, QoR, M. Graham, Da Vinci, Old Holland and MaimeriBlue, and they usually use PY129 for the single color one. And then other brands will mix the colors a little bit more. So with the Daniel Smith one, the color that's similar to this is actually a single pigment, but with this color is a mix of three. Holbein uses PY150, PG7 and PBR25. Schmincke uses PY154 and PBR7. And Roman Schmaltz uses PY150, PY129, PG36. It's going to be roughly around the PY150 or 129 range of colors. And then Greenish yellow is PY150, PG36 and PY65. It really depends on whether you are a die-hard fan of single pigment colors, in which case you have plenty of choices for this hue, or you're not that bothered about mixed pigments and you want the performance, then you have things like Schmincke and Holbein that goes down really smoothly for you. Let's have a look at the transparency or the opacity, and the most opaque one is the Daniel Smith one and the Schmincke one, and then followed by, I'd say, the Roman Schmaltz one. The least opaque or the most transparent, I would say, is the Sennelier one, followed by Holbein. So if you want a transparent palette, then I would actually recommend Holbein over Sennelier, just because Sennelier is a little bit harder to get the consistency right, whereas Holbein's quite easy and it goes down very smoothly on the paper. And let's have a look next at the lift and glaze. Anything that's gold green, green gold-ish, it's going to be quite a staining color. I have seen artists that use the staining of green gold to their advantage. With green gold, the stains are going to be a lot more yellow. It's the yellowness that really stains the paper, and I've seen people paint leaves using this color as the main color and then lifting the color to create the highlight. This is the result of doing the lifting 3 times, but if you just do it like the once, then you get this nice bright yellow that looks amazing, and it's going to be the perfect highlight for this color because it's the same color. The easiest ones to lift were the Schmincke one. It's almost back down to white paper. I can still see a little bit of yellow, but I don't know if it will come through in the camera. As always, I will put high-res scans of all of my test sheets over on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Oto Kano. So if you want to have a detailed look and a really close look at this, then I recommend you head on over there. I'd say the most staining color is the Green Gold by Daniel Smith by far. However, I know you guys are going to be like, yeah, but it's not the same color. So if we remove this color, then I would say that the highest staining colors are the ones by Mission Gold and also QoR. QoR's very, very high staining. The yellowest stain you're going to get is actually from Szmal. As I said in the main swatch, that had the most amount of yellow coming through in the hue anyway, so it's not surprising that when you lift it, the yellowest one is going to be the Szmal one. The Mission Gold's yellow is a little bit more cool yellow that is left behind than the Szmal one. And again, you can see the bubbling. These are the results of the bubbles here on the MaimeriBlue. Not so much on Old Holland. I think the Old Holland one got better as I painted with them, but the MaimeriBlue just kept having this bubbling up consistency problem. In terms of glazing, not surprisingly, the highest staining color is also the best at glazing, and that's Daniel Smith's Green Gold. It's very, very good glazer. If you do a lot of glazing and you do a lot of high rich color landscape, I highly recommend this color because it's amazing. This is the best performance of glazing I've seen in any color in these series. But again, I know you guys are going to be like, this color is different, so if we remove this color, then I would say the clearest glazer is the Da Vinci one. It's very smooth, and then I can see a very crisp line on either side of the layer from the bottom. So if you do a lot of glazing, go for the Da Vinci one. It is the most muted one though, so if you want a brighter color, then you're gonna have to find something more like the Holbein one is pretty good. It's very clear layers. You do get some blurring of the edges, but it's still a lot clearer lines than say M. Graham or Szmal's Mission Gold. I think Mission Gold is the worst one. You can't even see the glaze underneath. Old Holland is not bad. You can see a nice crisp line here. However, it does have that bubbling problem, so I wouldn't recommend these two just on the bubbling front. So I would go for Da Vinci or Holbein depending on how intense you want your colors to be. So that's it for this episode. Of course, in the next episode, we're going to be covering things like the gradated washes, how it reacts to salt, and also how it mixes with other colors. But what do you think of these colors so far? Do let me know which color is your favorite. Do let me know which one is your favorite that you already had before this episode, and let me know if you changed your mind about it. Do let me know if you have experience with the problem of bubbling or not had any experience of bubbling with these two Old Holland and MaimeriBlue brands, because it would be really good to collect some data on this and just to see if it's just me that has these problems or other people have it. One more thing, this month's dot card for the Patreons is going to be the companion dot card to this episode. So it's going to be the Green Gold. We got the Daniel Smith one, the Holbein one, Sennelier one, Schmincke, Winsor Newton, QoR, M. Graham and Mission Gold. And I put the Daniel Smith one, even though it's slightly different color, because I do think it's a good color mixer and it's a good glazer. If you want this dot card to show up on your doorstep this month, then do head on over to patreon.com/Oto Kano and you can sign up to the appropriate tiers. There's several tiers that will get you the dot card and lots of other amazing rewards as well. Right, I am off. I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye! The two most problematic ones. I cannot say the word.